The topic for discussion is software configuration management. Whereas, what is meant by software configuration management? Software configuration management, it's a process to systematically manage, organize, and control the changes in the documents, codes, and other entities during the software development lifecycle. So, according to this, every software process which goes through a sequence of changes, and this changes may be due to the requirement changes which are given by the customer, or changes which are happening in the team or in the organization, or changes in the government policy and because of other rules, or the changes in the project schedule. All this kind of changes which affects the code as well as the project plan and the other documentation process and all other the testing procedures and other about the other code of contacts and other all any other entities. So this changes must be incorporated inside the application, but it should be effectively managed and organized. Hence, there is a need of software configuration management concept. And who are the people who will play the major role in software configuration management? There will be project manager and configuration manager and developer and the user will be there, and they'll be part of the scenario, and whichever scenario which comes for a change, these people will involve in making changes. And here we should understand the basic term called baseline. What is meant by baseline? Baseline is a milestone in the development of a software. So it's like a kind of an objective or the purpose of a particular software. And hence, when there is a change which comes, that is called software configuration item. When there is an item which requires a change, which should be identified by the formal technical review people, and they will prepare the document of whichever items which should go through the change requirement procedures. Only those things the development team will get for modification, and they will do such kind of modifications. According to IEEE, this SCI is or the baseline is defined as it's a product which will go through for changes or for further development, and but it will be controlled by a set of procedures. So that baseline which contains the system specification and all that, it's like a kind of a repository. So the existing code will be there, the test plan and procedures, how the application is defined, all those things will be available in the baseline. When there is a need of a change, the software configuration item or the task will be taken, and those software items are called as software configuration items, and that will be identified by the formal technical people, and they only those approved software configuration items will go for changes. When these changes are reflected, that will be stored in the project database. Hence, the next iteration comes, it will be taken from this baseline, it will be open, and again it will be extracted and it will go for changes. So this cycle is going to be repeated when there is a need of a change comes in any process or any configuration items. What is meant by software configuration objects? That means in a software configuration process, what are the objects will go through or are expected objects requires changes. The changes may be happening in an uh, the changes may evolve in a particular object in the form of an object. So the changes may happen in the design, maybe the data design or an architectural design or a module design, or it may be an interface design. So this design may go through changes. So the data model also can go for a change, or it may be a component or any interface component, or it may be any algorithm or in any procedures which may go for changes. And a testing plan also will change, and the testing procedures will be changed, and according to the change requirement, the test case is also going to be changed, and that will be reflected back in the source code as well. So software configuration which makes changes in these kind of objects. Because of software configuration, these are the objects will go for a change procedures. The next topic is software configuration management repository. So what is meant by repository? It's storage kind of a data, or it may be an information, or it may be a tool. And when there is a change occurs from this repository only, the collective information will be taken back and it will go for changes. The change items are going to be finally integrated and it will be updated in the database. So data repository, which contains all the set of mechanisms and the data structures to manage effectively the changes which are going to occur in the particular project. What are the contents of a repository? The repository contains so many different kind of contents. It may be a business content, or it may be a model content, or it may be a code, or it may be verification and validation content, or it may be a document related content, or it may be a project management content. So all the contents related to a project will be dumped and it will be available in the repository. From the repository, the data will be taken back and for modifications are going to be happen. And what are the features of a repository? The repository will go for modification. So the repository content will contains the different kind of versions of modification softwares and the corresponding modification versions of codes which are available, and that can be used by the developer for making some changes, and they can learn about the previous version, and then they can go for managing and developing the changes in the particular product before release. And also we can able to track the dependency among among the processes, and what are the data elements, and how what is the relationship among the data elements also available in this repository. Also requirements, also we can able to trace about the design requirements and about the construction requirement of every data will be available in this repository, which will be useful for any developer to refer it for when the item will go for modification, or the data object which requires modification. So, so all the audit trials and the details also going to be available in the form of a document. That will be the contents also going to be available in the repository. So the repository will be useful for analyzing the data and getting the information and modifying the existing code when it requires changes. What are the SCM elements which requires modification? The software configuration, it's similar to a kind of an object, maybe a component which requires. Sometimes we need a tool for manage every configuration item, and or it may be a process, or it may be a procedure which need for modification. So all these are the elements which are important for before an element which goes for a modification. So the maybe the validation component, as well as the team of people who are going to be employed, and they'll work together and modify the software configuration management process. How the process is happening in a software configuration item. The software configuration items which are available in a particular software which goes through sequence of changes. The first step, we have identified software items or go through the change procedures where the changes are going to be controlled, and then the versions are going to be released, but there is a difference among the previous version and the current version, but it should work along with the existing applications. And configuration auditing, finally the items which are developed and built by the configuration process are going to be audited, and then the report is going to be prepared, and this is going to be submitted back to the senior management to review the entire software configuration management process happened in a qualitative manner. So, what is meant by version control? So, in version control, which contains so many procedures and tools for manages the versions. So, the version control system, which contains details of database, and so the database is a kind of a repository, and this database repository, which contains stores all configuration objects. And version management, here the code corresponding to each and every versions are going to be available over there, and that is going to be managed effectively, and make facility. So version control system provides a facility to control the change requirements, which should not affect any other part of a module, any other modules. When there is a need of a change comes, no other module should go under any failure or a repair process. So the facilities are going to be made for the control should be managed in an effective way, and tracking the issues of a particular application. So when there is a particular issue happen, where are the issues are reflected back, which is going to be analyzed, and that is going to be help with the help that is going to be with the help of the version control system. So the tools and the procedures which help you to do some version changes. So that is called version control. What does when we change control? When there is a change occurs in a particular project, because of the changes, the quality is not supposed to be diluted. So the ensuring quality changes and the consistency throughout the applications are done through the are monitored through the change control procedures. Any project which goes through the following change control process, when a project which requires a change, the need for the change is going to be recognized, and then the change request is going to be collected from the user, and the developer will evaluate those changes, and the change report is going to be finally generated. Then the change control authority will decide whether the changes it's important, and then it is going for then it will be given for change control process steps 2. Otherwise, it is going to be denied, and it will be informed back to the user. The change is not vital, and it is unimportant. Then it is not going to be incorporated inside the application. When there is a change control document is prepared, then they will assign to people for doing such changes. So the people will go through and they will check out those changes, and they will make those changes. And once the changes are done in a particular software, that is going to be again reviewed and audited. And for again, it will be stored in the data in the repository of baseline for final testing process. And in the stage, then it goes through change control step 3, that is process 3, where the quality analysis are going to be happening, and they will check all the changes made in the every configuration items, and which is done perfectly. Then it will go for a release, and the versions are going to be rebuilt, and it is going to be audited finally before it is delivered back to the end user. So this kind of way in which every software configuration item which comes for a change will go through a sequence of these kind of 3 steps of procedures. Then only it is going to be incorporated inside the application. Software configuration management auditing. So what is meant by software configuration management auditing? Here, the software configuration items are identified and given by the formal technical team, and from that, the change requests are created, and the SQL plans are derived, and then it is going to be audited by the software quality management audit. So, the software quality management audit will compare the product which are ready for release, which incorporated the change control procedures, and will be compared with the software configuration items which are given by the technical team. If everything is satisfied, the quality auditing team will give the report and feedback for releasing the particular software. An example web engineering application is given, where what are the kind of changes which which comes for software configuration management. Maybe in a web application, the content may change. Kind of once the web application is developed and it is deployed, but it needs a change because the contents may be vary. For example, when you consider different web applications, every year it comes for a change. Maybe it may be the content or text or a graphics or any scripts or any form application or any table or streaming of data or any other requirement. Because of that, the changes are supposed to be made in the content. And so people, maybe the privileges are given to different people for managing the content, as well as for using different users may use the application, their privileges may change. And this kind of changes also expected, and in a web application, that will be a software configuration item that will come under a management or an organization that will be reviewed, and then it will be given back to the development team for such kind of changes. or it may be scalability for configuring the size of any software. Maybe the server size you have to extend, or the resources which are required for the application should be extended. The machines or the devices are supposed to be extended. So this is called scalability, and because of the scalability, this also affects the change configuration. So because of that, you may the software may go through some sequence of changes, or the politics, the policies, the procedures, the rules which are available in the particular organization may change. Because of that, this kind of changes will be supposed to be incorporated inside the application. So that may be so that should be managed efficiently. And so the management subsystem which contains different it's kind of a repository, and which encompasses so many informations about the content and of the entire website, and about the database, and about different versions and auditing procedures, and auditing reports will be available. This will be useful for any web developer. While they make some changes in a particular website, they look for the previous details. So this will be efficiently help them to do the effectively the changes within the proper deadline. Thank you. These are the references of this presentation.